Welcome to the Bookish Hour with your hosts, Sarah E. Burr and J.C. Kenny.
And we are live. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to a very, very, very special episode of the Bookish Hour. We are here celebrating 1 year of being bookish. It's really, really hard to believe that a year has already gone by since we had our first Mystery March Madness when JC and I were celebrating the release of our books, and this really took off, and everyone has been so wonderful, and we're so grateful that today we are launching our celebration to share all things bookish with you, and we are joined by a fabulous panel of amazing authors that, I am starstruck just sitting on this call right now. We're in for a really, really great show. Before we get started, I just want to make sure that for those of you who are joining us live, and maybe this is your first time stopping by our channel, make sure that you are logged in to either your YouTube or Google account so that you can chat with us. We would love to take your questions during the show, and feel free to ask any one of us anything. We're happy to answer, and we're in for a really great time. Without further ado, I am one of your hosts, Sarah Burr.
And also, without further ado, I am your other host, J.C. Kenny. And I was doing a little Googling, and Sarah, you and I have been together longer than Cher and Greg Allman were married. So we made it to our first anniversary. They only made it to 9 days. I'm dating myself, I realize, by that reference. But anyway, yeah, I am just so thrilled to be here, to have be doing this fun venture with Sarah. And, you know, we have 4 amazing, fabulous, talented, smart, creative, brilliant writers joining us tonight. So I am going to stop rambling, and I'm now going to ask our panelists to introduce yourselves. Please tell our viewers a little bit about yourself, and we're going to start with VM Burns.
Well, hello. After that intro, I'm looking around like, who's these authors? No, thank you guys so much for inviting me, and congratulations on your anniversary. I am Valerie. I go by VM Burns, and I write cozy mysteries. I have 4, soon to be 5 series, and I am, let's see, I live in the South, but I am from the Midwest, and a lot of my cozies take place in Michigan and Indiana, which is where I'm from.
Woohoo!
Yay.
Go Hoosiers. I'm from Indianapolis, so yeah, gotta do the shout out there. And next, how about Korina Moss?
Well, hi. Yeah, I'm Korina Moss. I write the Cheese Shop Mystery Series. I live in Connecticut, and I have one son who's just gone off to college this year, so I'm in full empty nesting mode, and I'm having all the feels of that. But it does give me a lot more time to concentrate on all the writing and marketing and everything else that goes along with it. Unlike Valerie, I didn't get published until 2020. So, well, my book came out last year, but I signed the contract in 2020. So I'm kind of new at this, and still 3 years later, you know, trying to find my footing with everything. So it's all exciting and fun and a lot of hard work, but I'm loving it. And I get to meet other authors that are so cool.
Well, it's a thrill to have you here. Next up, I'd like to introduce the one of the chicks on the case is in the house, Jennifer Chow. Jen, introduce yourself.
Hey, yes. Hi, I'm Jennifer. I am one of the chicks. We blog Mondays, Wednesdays, Fridays, chicksonthecase.com. I am a cozy mystery writer who writes cozies with heart, humor, and heritage. So my latest 2 series are the LA Night Market Mysteries, which has a night market theme. And the first book in that's called Death by Bubble Tea. And then the upcoming one is called Hot Pot Murder. So very food based. There's recipes in the back. My other series before that was the Sassy Cat Mysteries. And yes, it has a talking sassy cat. And the main protagonist is also Mimi Lee, who's a pet groomer in Los Angeles. And she runs a shop called Hollywood. So it's been a lot of fun writing cozies. I love cozies, the mysteries, and I actually love puns too. So you could probably tell from all the titles and descriptions.
Well, it's so great to have you here. And last but definitely not least by any means, M.A. Monnin. Hi, Mary.
Hi, thanks for having me. I just want to let you know I've got my bubbly here to celebrate your anniversary.
Yay.
Happy
Woo!
anniversary, guys.
Thank you.
So I write books and short stories. My first book is Death in the Aegean, and it's up for an Agatha Best First Novel Award, which is right next to Korina's book also. So we're both going to be looking at that. Gosh, that's about it. I live in Kansas City. I'm definitely an empty nester. I've been one for a long time. I have 2 Siberian Huskies.
Nice. Nice.
Lovely.
So, well, thank you all for that introduction, for taking time again to be with us. And so I'm going to dive into our first question. And Korina, going to start with you. You've all touched on this a little bit, but if you care to talk a little bit more, why did you choose to write cozy and or traditional mysteries as opposed to maybe any other genre?
Well, that's kind of an easy one for me because that was for a long time almost solely what I was reading. I've always read mysteries from, the time I was a child, of course, Nancy Drew and Encyclopedia Brown. And then I got into Agatha Christie and, read every Agatha Christie book in the library. And so then my first cozy was Sue Grafton. She doesn't really write cozies particular, but the traditional mystery with a female protagonist.
Mhm.
And so I started, wanting more like that and started looking for that. And luckily our library has the little magnifying glass on the label. And so as I was going through, you could easily find them. And I couldn't believe when I discovered cozy mysteries, because this was like in the 90s, early 2000s, when it was just starting, the whole subgenre of mysteries. And it was like, not only could I read the one that I loved, but there were more in the series and I could keep going back, so that was a lot of, fun to read. So when I really started writing, it was kind of an easy thing of, well, I know what I love to read. And so that's what I want to write. And so I chose the cozy.
There you go. Awesome. Well, Jen, how about you?
Oh, I have very similar pathway. So I love reading mysteries. Also, Agatha Christie is a big thing. Both my mom and me. And so we used to kind of read together and trade back and forth, which was a lot of fun. And I think I just liked that genre. I remember in elementary school, I even wrote this short story that was a mystery. And actually, I wrote it and I was like, oh, this is great, except I couldn't figure out the ending. So then I just stuck in this twist ending, which the teacher still loved. So I got an A on the paper.
Nice.
Yeah, woohoo. So then I don't know, I just really gravitated to genre. For a while, I wasn't sure if actually I could do the whole whodunit with all the clues. But I really, since I enjoyed reading it so much, I was like, you know what? Why don't I give it a try? And here I am.
That's so cool. And we have all benefited so much from the fact that you did give it a try because your books are wonderful. So,
Thank
yeah.
you.
So, okay, Mary, you're up. Tell us why traditional cozy mysteries?
Pretty much the same. I love the puzzle of the traditional mysteries or the cozies. I think they're very similar. The distinction is, very similar. But anyway, I really love that puzzle. And I kind of feel like I'm playing a game with the reader, tossing out a clue, see if they get it. I like that. And I also like the when I read mysteries, traditionals or cozies, they have, I like that routine of their lives. They all have a routine, and it's very familiar and comforting. And if life is either stressful or maybe even dull during a cold winter, long cold winter, it's very comforting to go to that familiar world and just escape to it.
Yeah, absolutely. I hear you so much. And I've told this story other times, but I'll throw it out here real quick. That I remember asking my mom when I was like 10 years old. She was a huge Agatha Christie fan. She read her, Niall Marsh, all of the giants from the Golden Age. And I asked her, it's like, Mom, why are you reading these horrible books with murder and death in it? And she said, it's not about that. It's about the puzzle. And 40 some odd years later, that stuck with me. So, so Valerie, how about you? What got you into the cozy traditional genre?
So I think it's very similar to what the other ladies have said. I read mysteries growing up. I love cozies. I am I guess I'm just a coward. So anything with too much graphic violence, I don't want to stay up all night, watching religious TV and singing hymns. So I am, not going for the graphic, murders. I love the puzzle. And after years of reading and, just enjoying cozy mysteries, I had this list of, I wish I could find a book about, I wish there was a book about, I wish somebody would write a cozy mystery about. And, after like 20 years, that list was real long, and I realized nobody was writing it. So I thought, well, what if I tried? So I think that's how I got started, but it was just because I loved the genre so much. I loved reading those. I am a huge Agatha Christie fan. So it really just sort of flowed. If I was going to write anything, that's what I was going to write. And sorry about the poodles.
No,
Do not ever, no apology necessary. Yeah.
JC, I'm going to pop in real quick with a reader question. We have some great chatter in the chat right now. Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for being here. We've got a great group of people. Please feel free to ask us questions as we go along. We've got a question from Sherry Northcutt, who would like to know, how do you plot your books? Do you start with the murder in mind and whodunit? So I'll let you think about that for a few minutes, or not a few minutes, a few moments. And then, Mary, would you like to kickstart us off on that question?
Sure. Well, I'm a plotter, so I think I start with a murder first, and I always know who done it. I can't really progress until I know who done it. And that was proven to me I'm working on book 3 right now, and I kept stalling and stalling because I couldn't figure out who done it. And I finally got it pinned down, and now I can go through and finish the rest. So, yes.
Valerie,
so
what
I'm
about
the
you?
exact opposite. I do not plot. I wish I could plot when I grow up. One day I am going to be a plotter. I strive for that. And I've tried, and I just can't do it. I am a pantser, so I usually will have an idea of who I want to kill. And, so I have a full-time job too. So my coworker, when people make me mad, I kill them. That's my stress reliever. So I have a long list of people to kill. So I know who I want to kill, and depending on how angry I am at you will be how gruesome your death is. So if I'm just a little miffed, you might just get poisoned. So I know who I'm killing. I have a rough idea of what's going to happen, but I really love the characters and just getting in their heads and trying to figure out who they are. And I love just dropping them in weird situations and seeing how they work their way out. And a lot of times I'm surprised. I'm like, ooh, I didn't see that coming. And, sometimes I got to step away and figure out, now, how are we going to get out of this? And, it makes it fun for me. And so I think that hopefully the readers, I'm right there with them when they get to that point in the book and it's like this is who the killer is. Then I'm like, I'm finding that out too. This is who the killer is. I often start with one person, and by either midway or 2/3 through, I'm like, ooh, they're not the killer. This is the killer. And then I change it. So that's my process.
That's impressive because I just I can't even imagine. There's so many moving parts that I need an outline. Now it's a sketchy one and I veer from it, but it's like the spine of it where when I go too far off and I'm like, because invariably in the middle of writing your book you panic, like, oh my god, why am I doing this? Oh, did I and then I can go back to it and look at everything that I have and say, oh no, okay, that's why I did this. Okay, I knew there was a reason, and so I have to do it that way. In my last book, I was very rushed to write book 4, not the book that's coming out now, but the book that I'm doing my editor revisions on right now. And I had a lot less time to write that one. And so I had outlined it and then I couldn't quite figure out about the last third or quarter of the book. And so I just thought, oh, when I get there, maybe I'll figure it out. I will never do that again because, like I said, it's like a dance where everything has to happen in the right way, in a certain way for that end reveal. And so that was just so stressful on me, and I managed it, but I'll never do that again. I am an outliner, and maybe when I grow up someday and and I'll decide I'll have fun with writing because it's not so much on those occasions, and I'll be able to be a pantser, but not today. Today's not that day.
Wow, you are all amazing. I am actually right in the middle. So I am not quite a plotter, not quite a pantser. I'm a little bit of a plantser. So I generally have it outlined and I have all the suspects and they all have, potential killing capabilities. But I think I feel like I've done it all. I've done it where I thought I knew the person and then it turned out to be like totally somebody different. And I've also written like halfway and been like, oh, there's a twist. And I've also done it where I've plotted. So I think I'm kind of like all a mix of whatever works for that particular story. That's what happens. I would say though, with the slight addition that because my publisher asked me for a synopsis, I try to be more of a plotter so that I can turn that into them.
My editor would like me to be a plotter, and he requests a synopsis. And I think after, all these years, he's sort of just, given up, and he'll realize that he's going to get, some detail on the parts that I know. And then I might do a page and a half on describing a sunset or somebody's dress. That's just for the synopsis. And then I'm like, and then she investigates the crime and they figure out that, Jennifer Chow was the murderer. And it's like,
Twist.
Okay. But I've noticed on the back, they don't put names because those will change before I finish. So they stopped doing that because it's just, we've gotten into a groove.
Valerie, we actually have a couple follow-up questions for you. One is what are your dogs' names? Our chat members would very much like to know the names of the cuties on your lap right now.
I am so sorry. I am trying. If I let the little one down, she's gonna bark. So
they are the stars of the show.
This is Kensington, and yes, I named her after my publisher. So Kensington, I call her Kenzie. She is 8, and she is a toy poodle. And the all in motion. This is my puppy. Well, she's 3 now. This is Chloe. And I was sharing with Jim that I got her at the start of the pandemic, and she learned that if she barks when I start talking, she was getting a treat, but now she's chunky. and she's got to lose some weight. So I'm trying not to just feed her treats every few minutes. So that's why we're wrestling here.
Perfect. And we have a question from actually two different people, Regina Williams, and let's see, Martha's Magical Mystery Class is also asking, if you are not plotting out your mysteries, how do you write two separate mysteries in your mystery bookshop series without getting them confused in the story?
If you notice how this works, usually the contemporary mystery kind of goes along, and then Sam's confused. And this is my mystery bookshop series, and she's like, writing allows my subconscious mind to come through. So I'm going to go off into the British countryside, and I'm going to write about 1938, 1939, Great Britain. And she writes, and there is a parallel between what's happening in the British historic mystery that she's writing and the mystery that she's trying to solve in her real life. Real, like she's a real character or something, right? But, they're parallel. And so as she writes, it helps her and me work through how to solve the mystery that she's in. So
okay,
it's been working for me. So it seemed like a good idea at the time. When I thought about it, I thought, oh, I would love to read a book with two mysteries. This would be really, and then I thought, I got to write two mysteries. I got to solve two mysteries in every book. I didn't think that through at the beginning. If I had, it probably would have been a whole different story. But yeah, I just sort of, sometimes I have to step aside, but usually as I'm writing the British Historic Cozy, it helps me solve the other one.
Well, that's amazing that you're able to do that, Valerie. And speaking of British historical mysteries, that kind of brings up an interesting topic of setting and location, because you all write stories with vastly different settings. Can you tell us a little bit about why you picked, the setting or the settings that you did? Jen, how about you? How about you lead off first?
Oh, sure. Well, that's probably easy because, they say write what you know, and I live in the Los Angeles area, so I figured, hey, wouldn't it be great to write about SoCal? It makes it a lot easier for me to do research. And I just really love being in this region and putting in the diversity in the book. That's really important to me. So I was able to capture that, and I think that's what I enjoy about the series. And of course, there's I make a lot of food references, and there's always a lot of good food in this area, so I like to pop that in there. And then even in the Night Market series, I kind of did this thing where I add like hidden sites around LA. So kind of like spots that you might not know of as much. Like there's a Korean French hotel around here. And so like kind of some fun, like almost Easter eggs for people.
That is so cool. The Easter egg concept is so much fun. And because if you catch it as the reader, that's great. And if you don't, no big deal. Still a great story. Mary, you went a little bit far afield, relatively speaking, with your Death in the Aegean, taking us all the way to Greece. Talk about that.
Well, I've been fascinated with Greece ever since I was a teenager in Germany. My dad was in the army, and every summer he would go to Crete, the island of Crete, for military exercises. And he'd come back with Greek vases and these leather sandals and flakatis, and I was just fascinated. So I finally got to go about 10 years ago. My husband and I went, and we went to the island of Santorini. And when we were touring the archaeological site of the Bronze Age town of Akrotiri, the guide told us that they had discovered a single gold statue of an ibex. It was buried under the floor of one of the buildings. And that's the only gold item that's been found there. And boy, that got my imagination going. I thought, ooh, okay. Gold, newly discovered gold statues and all these narrow, winding, dark streets. And if you're a tourist, you're surrounded by strangers, anything can happen. And I just ran with it. It's like, I've got to set a murder here.
Well, you knocked it out of the park. I felt when I was reading that book, like I was right there. It was just, your description of the setting and the whole, the area was just amazing. So, so a little
Thank
bit
you.
closer to home for me, at least. Valerie, you set your mysteries a little kind of more Midwestern-ish. Kind of talk about that a little bit for us, if you wouldn't mind.
I am from Northwest Indiana, South Bend, Indiana. So a little further north and usually colder than where you're from. And I lived there the majority of my life. I also lived in Southwest Michigan, and it's beautiful. It's right by Lake Michigan. So at the time when I started the Mystery Bookshop series, I was living in Southwest Michigan, and to piggyback on what Jen was saying, I throw some Easter eggs in there. So I've had people who write and they're like, "Oh, is North Harbor, Michigan really, Benton Harbor, Michigan?" It's like, yeah, yeah. And then my new series that I said in New Bison, Michigan. And I don't know, I crack myself up with some of these names. I don't know if people get it or not, but then I'll get an email and somebody's like, "Is that New Buffalo?" I'm like, "Yeah, yeah, it is." So, and I think I made a reference to Notre Dame, and I said, I think I called it Jesus and Mary University. So, sometimes people get it and sometimes they don't, but I have fun while I'm writing it. So that's why I did it.
Well, that is so cool. Well, how about you, Korina? Tell us a little bit about your settings and why.
So, unlike Jennifer, that would have been smart to, write what but no. So when I was looking for where to set the cheese shop mystery, I was just doing some internet research, and I found a cheese trail that goes all the way up California. Now, this is just basically a map of all the creameries, dairy farms, cheese shops all along California, that if you're a tourist, you can go, and you can go to, you'll know where to go to get samples and learn about cheese and cheese making. And I just thought that was fascinating. And so then I liked the idea of, with Sonoma Valley, my fictional town of Yarrow Glen is in the Sonoma Valley. And I liked the idea of that being known for its wine. Of course, wine and cheese go together. But I liked that if it was a town with its roots in dairy farming, and my main character was going to have a cheese shop there, that's kind of like makes the town more of an underdog, where they're surrounded by all these shishi, vineyard towns and wine towns. And so so I liked that parallel. So that's why I kind of I decided on that. And I've traveled a lot, and I've yet to actually be in Northern California, but Mark Baker, one of the bloggers, he grew up there, and he thought that I had also lived there. So that made me feel really good that, I was getting it right. So let's hope.
Well, just real quick as an aside, I think not only are do you get your books right, your titles, you just totally knock it out of the park with your titles. Just real quick, could you tell everybody your titles, and do you get credit for them, or did somebody help you with those?
Yeah. So actually, my editor helps me with them. We kind of go back and forth, but she is like the pun queen. Every email we have, she has cheese puns throughout it. Like, she just throws them out. And when I was talked to my publicists and some other people from St. Martin's last year at Malice, they were saying that she does that at work. Do they have the best time with her puns? So anyway, the first one is Cheddar Off Dead. And as Mary had said, this one has been nominated for an Agatha Award for Best First Novel. And then the second one is Gone for Gouda. And yeah, and it's got a little white dog there too. Oops, wrong one. And then the third one that's coming out at the end of March is Curds of Prey. And so yeah, so they're all very cheesy, but it does take us a while to come up with it. We do bounce a lot of things off, and they have to, all kind of be similar and short, and it's not always easy. The fourth book coming out that you can pre-order, that comes out next September, is Case of the Blues. It's about a blue cheese, a very valuable and sought after blue cheese. So that's what we have so far. I think, when I finally finish writing books, it might be because we've run out of titles. I don't know.
All the cheese.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, unfortunately, we're not almost running out of time, but it is halfway through the hour. So time flies when you're having fun. At this point, we want to let everybody know that in celebration of the 1-year anniversary, we do have Sarah and I are doing a little giveaway to thank everybody for hanging out with us, not only tonight, Thursday night, as well as hanging with us for the whole year. Sarah, you want to tell folks about it?
Yes. So we are doing a book bundle giveaway along with a $20 Amazon gift card. And so to enter into our giveaway, this is going to be spanning across both evenings. So our winner is going to be announced at the end of our Thursday night show. So if you can come back and join us for a second night, please do. In order to enter our giveaway, we need you to type in a very, very secret word into the YouTube chat so that we can enter you into the raffle. And feel free to you can enter it throughout the show. You don't have to enter it in right now. We'll give you time throughout the episode to enter in, or if you need to log into YouTube to do it, make sure you go ahead and get that set up. But the secret word is bookish. Surprise, surprise. So if you'd like to enter, please make sure you type in bookish into the chat. And before we segue back to our prepared questions, I just want to let Korina know that Mark Baker has joined the chat and says that he absolutely loves your titles and enjoys getting to head home fictionally in your books. So
Thank you,
very, he's loves the puns. I think we all do. I think as a cozy mystery writer, you kind of have to love puns by default. We had another question from Sherry Northcutt. Do you taste test your recipes? For those of you who share recipes with your readers, do you taste test them?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. Many variations.
Not all of them. I have to be honest. I'm not a good cook, and I try to make mine as simple as possible. So those I do, but there's been a couple that's come down to the wire where I need to send them in, and I'm just like, but and when people say they're going to make them, I get a little nervous, but so far so good. Everybody's loved the few that I've seen on Instagram. They've posted that they've made them, and thank goodness they've all come out well so far. So
that's too funny.
Yeah. I mean, I have to be honest.
So, one of the things that Korina mentioned is that she is up for an Agatha Award this year at the Malice Domestic Mystery Fan Conference. Mary is up for the same award. And Valerie and Jennifer, you both have been nominated for awards. So, you not only is that an indicator of your amazing talent, it's, people love your writing. So, I've never been nominated for an award. So what I want to know, yeah, there we go. I want to know what's it like. Tell us, give us the deets. What was it like when you got that either phone call or email, or fill us in, because that must have been so cool. Mary, how about you lead us off?
Okay, so I was downstairs 5 a.m. I'm a morning person with my coffee, local news on, and I opened up my phone to look at the emails, and I saw that it was from Agatha Award nominations, and all I could read was, "Hello, MA. It's a pleasure to tell you." And I just stared at it, and I thought, "Oh my God." And I started saying it out loud. "Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God." And I did that for about 5 minutes. I was afraid to actually click on the email just in case I was wrong. My husband came down with his coffee about 5 minutes later, and when he came down, I jumped up and down, hugged him, and then I opened up the email, and it confirmed, of course, that yes. So it was thrilling. I was just filled with a glow of happiness. I still am. I'm enjoying it. I understand when they say it's an honor just to be nominated. I'm loving it.
Well, that's so cool. And just remind folks the name of the title that was nominated and what it was nominated for.
Oh, there's Death in the Aegean, and it's the Agatha Best First Novel Award is the nomination.
Very cool. Very cool. Jen, how about you? Now, you are kind of one of these big shots. You've been nominated for a few things. So, if you want to choose one or more stories, all things are good.
Yeah, how much time do we have for author nominations?
It is definitely an honor. So I'm up for, Death by Bubble Tea is up for a Lefty Award in Best Humorous. And it's so much fun because I'm, from the West Coast. So it's an honor for me to have that community to recognize my work and that people think it's funny. So that's great too. And then also it's up for the Agatha this year as well, as contemporary. And so that kind of blew me away too, because I same as Mary, I was like, oh, it's an email. And then I thought, wait, what is it saying? And I remember clicking on it and thinking, did they send it to the wrong, there's a lot of Jennifers out there. So did they send it to the wrong person? Is it me? And I'm looking at the title, double checking. And so I think I was just still so much in shock, because as we talked about, big, Agatha Christie fan. And so obviously the Agatha Award means a lot just to be nominated. So definitely I think it's walking around in that daze. That's how I usually react.
Yeah, very cool. Very cool. Valerie, care to share your story?
So my first book was nominated for an Agatha, and I found out I was on the phone driving home from work and just about, had an accident because I couldn't believe it. I mean, I am a huge Agatha Christie fan, and I knew others had been contacted when they were nominated, and I didn't get a phone call. So I thought, well, I wasn't nominated. Okay. And so when I had somebody call and say congratulations, and I'm like, congratulations for what? And so then when I heard, I'm like, whoa, I better pull over. So, but I think the most surprised, or just the biggest thrill, was when my short story was nominated for the Edgar last year. I did not even realize that the anthology had been sent in, that my short story was a part of. And so, it's not like I knew it was even an option. And so I was actually reading the list and writing down the names of my friends who I knew had been nominated so I could send an email. So I'm just going through the list as it appeared in the, email, and I get to, the Vermeer Conspiracy, and I'm like, the Vermeer, there's two books called two short stories with the same name? This is ridiculous. What a coincidence. And then I look over and I see V.M. Burns, and I'm like, wait a minute, that's me. I can't believe, I called my sister. I couldn't even talk. I was like, but you don't understand. Cozies don't get nominated for Edgars. Are you kidding me? And so it took a lot. It was very, very much an honor, and I was just thrilled. And I got nominated. That same short story got also nominated for the Anthony. So last year was a very exciting year.
Yeah. Yeah. Real quick, where can we find what anthology is your story in?
So the Vermeer Conspiracy is in an anthology called Midnight Hour, and it is it was put out by Crooked Lane, and it is 20 stories from crime writers of color. And Tracy Clark also had a short story that got nominated, so that was a lot of fun. So it's been really, really a great experience. The only short story I've ever written, and I think I'm going to stop there.
Yeah.
High point.
Start and stop.
Yeah. All right, Korina, you're up.
So yeah, like Mary, and Jennifer, I got an email, and I also was not expecting it at all. So it was in the morning, and I was gobsmacked. I mean, just like that was something when everybody was saying, oh, my book is up for consideration, I did that too on Facebook and Instagram. But honestly, I thought with all the new books that, and when you're in the new, when you're a debut author, you kind of pay attention to the other debut authors and read their stuff, and you kind of get to know them. And so with all of the great ones that came out and all the people that were known, especially too, like I said, I'm in the quiet corner of Connecticut, and although I am in touch with and feel friendly with a lot of authors, I don't really ever get to see anybody in person. I go to the one conference, like I said, Malice Domestic, and last year was my first year there, even because, obviously this is my first book. So I just completely didn't expect it. So it was thrilling. It really was. And as the others have said, especially it being named after Agatha Christie, I mean, just to be named in the same breath with her, just have something, written, I'm going to write it in stone, I think, in the same breath as Agatha Christie. It's like a childhood dream kind of full circle thing. It's wild and wonderful. And it is such a cliche, as Mary said, to say, oh, it's an honor to be nominated. But truly, I feel like, I had I had the Sally Field moment. They like me. They really like me. And it's just an honor to be nominated, because truly it is. So.
Well, thank you all for sharing those stories, because they were wonderful and so deserving, absolutely deserving. And it just just a reminder, folks, if you haven't yet, you got plenty of time to go out and buy books from Valerie, Korina, Mary, and Jennifer, because you're in for a treat, let me tell you. Well, I tell you what, my time is running short, so I am going to ask one final question. Can you tell us a little bit, is there anything in particular you want readers to take away from your stories? We love to tell a great tale. We want to entertain folks. But is there anything in particular that you hope also comes out in your writing? Valerie, how about we start with you and the puppy dogs with this one?
So I guess the main thing is just I try to have intelligent protagonists who are, it stretches the imagination to have an amateur sleuth solving crime anyway. And so I try to make sure that they're also somewhat practical. So I think that's one of the things that I try to do in my books. And then also, I find that I want people to just enjoy, just realize life is too short not to have fun. Don't take this stuff too seriously. We make up a lot of stuff, and it's just should be fun. So that's primarily, I think, what I strive for. Not
Awesome.
too deep.
Very cool. Jen, how about you?
For me, I think I want my readers to come away with a sense of hope. So there's always, the puzzle, but then the end, everything gets solved and there's a happy ending and justice is served. And sometimes, we don't get that in real life. So I'm hoping my books convey that and also give them a sense of optimism, I think, to readers. And then the other piece of it is I have Asian American main characters. So I like to put, like cultural tidbits and things in there. So I'm hoping that readers will come away with like a little bit more understanding about culture and food as a specialty in my books, and just have fun reading them.
Very cool. Absolutely. Korina?
Yeah, I think for sure I want my readers to feel the way I have always felt since a child, reading a good book, and especially a cozy where you're in a series where you're there and it's just a sense of comfort. You say, especially when you return to the second book and the third book and on, it's like you're immediately back with old friends in a town you want to be back in. And that's the way I always feel when I read a good cozy, and have always felt when I read a good book from the time I was a child. And I think that's why I always wanted to be a writer in the first place. So I really want people to just have that sense of comfort, and then not want it to end, but of course race to the end, and then can't wait to read the next one, and then immediately sink into that again. And then also, go out and try some new cheese.
Well, in addition to trying a new cheese, as I think I've already said, for one thing, I know I want to go to spend some time in the Mediterranean and Greece. So, other than getting folks to go travel, Mary, what do you want folks to take from your books?
Well, in addition to the entertainment, I do hope that they do have a sense of the excitement of foreign travel. And then I also would hope that they come away with an awareness of the value of the knowledge that artifacts and archaeological sites can give to us. The vast amount of knowledge. And just a small thing is that I hope they realize Atlantis is not real.
Man, all right, well,
The bubble
whatever.
has been burst.
Yes. Well, I do just want to say one thing real quick, Mary. Shout out to you, because without spoiling anything, in the first book, Mary's protagonist has her passport stolen. And when that happens, I was just like, I would like have been, if that had happened to me when I was abroad, I would just be like curling up in a corner. Like I would, that is like, oh my goodness. So anyway, kudos to you for putting that in there with the adventure of travel. So I'm done. I'm going to be quiet. Sarah, over to you for the rapid fire.
All right, perfect. And before we get started with our rapid fire questions, we do have one more reader question from our chat. And this is for everyone. Do you like to put a little romance in your book for your main character? Do you like writing it, or do you feel that like you kind of have to put it in there? So Korina, how about you start us off on that?
I do like it. I didn't think I would. When my editor suggested it, I was like, all right. But now, especially because you have a series to kind of have that very slow burn, I like it a lot. It's fun.
Perfect. Mary, what about you?
I think it's absolutely important. I think a little bit of flirting improves any story.
Valerie, what's your view on romance?
Oh yes, I'm for it.
And Jen?
I'm all for romance.
I'm kind of mixed, honestly. So there definitely is romance in the Sassy Cat series. There's a relationship, and I like it, and I appreciate.
Did we lose Jen?
It looks like Jen.
Chester
We
Wentz
may
and
have,
oh,
She's back.
I
Sorry,
blinked
Jen,
out.
you kind of, yeah.
Yeah, so basically in Sassy Cat Mysteries, there's a long-term relationship, which I appreciated, and I liked fleshing out their characters. So that was great. And then in the Night Market, there's not as much. It's like a backseat, so there's kind of like a hint of romance. But I do remember, okay, so this is, sorry kids, but one of my kids read my book and they're like, Mom, I hate to tell you, you just can't do the romance stuff. So I'm like, oh, I don't know. Maybe I shouldn't add romance to the books, right? So, take it for grain of salt, I guess.
That's too funny. I will freely admit that romance is like the part I struggle with the most. So I'm always in awe of people who can like just effortlessly incorporate it in. So kudos to you all for going after romance full throttle. So for our rapid fire questions, to kind of wrap up our panel, to have some fun times here to end our hour. It's almost time. We are going to keep it fast. So we're going to go in the same order throughout these questions. And our order is going to be Valerie, Korina, Jen, and Mary. So hopefully I can remember what that order is for our next question. So to begin, I would like to know, is your favorite type of sleuth in reading books an amateur sleuth or a professional sleuth? Valerie?
Amateur.
Amateur as well.
Amateur.
Professional.
No, we like to keep it. We like to keep it exciting, and yeah, I think that everybody has their you can learn so much from a professional. I know that when I am reading, that I've just learned so much about how law enforcement works through the eyes of a professional sleuth, and it can help me in my own personal writing. But I love amateurs too. If you could share with us your favorite mystery movie or TV show, it could be either or.
Any Agatha Christie mysteries.
I'm gonna say Memento, which was a great mystery from like 20 plus years ago, where a man had short-term memory loss and his wife had been murdered. And so every time his memory like resets, he has all these tattoos and these post-it notes and everything because he's trying to figure it out. And it takes him a little while to remember that he's trying to figure out. And then once he does, he keeps piecing. So it's almost like when it shows starting from the ending to the beginning of the movie, even though that's not the way I'm confusing it, but it's really good if you happen to be able to see it somehow. It's called Memento, and that's always stuck with me. I haven't seen it in a long time, but I loved it.
Putting it on my list. Jen,
I'm
what
gonna
about you?
I'm gonna go Knives Out.
Oh,
Good one.
That's a good one. I like Murder Mystery, the one with Adam Sandler and Jennifer Aniston.
Oh, that was a good one. Yeah.
That was such a fun setting.
It was
That
fun.
was I do love the setting of that one. When you are writing, what is the must-have food or drink to get you through a writing session?
Coffee.
Diet Coke, without a doubt.
Hot tea, probably green tea.
Green tea, okay.
Coffee.
Coffee for the win. Perfect. And because we like to keep things very positive on the Bookish Hour, when, not if, you sell enough books to retire, where would you like to be retiring to? What's your dream place to live?
Any place where it's warm and I can see water.
yes.
Yeah, I have to echo Valerie on that. And I think for the first like 6 months to a year, I would try, you might know that I'm going to say this, Sarah, I might try to retire on like a cruise ship for like at least like, a good amount of time. That won't be a, forever thing. I wouldn't be able to do that, but I would love to see how long I could be out there before I got sick of it, because I never do.
I feel like you could be like the poster person for cruises because
But
if you go check out Valerie's latest blog on the Writers Who Kill blog, she blogs about her amazing like writing
Korina's.
retreat.
Korina's.
Oh yeah, Korina. Oh my gosh.
That's
Sorry.
okay.
Writes about your amazing retreat that you had. And oh my gosh, it was just so much fun to follow you as you went through that. I'm so glad you got to do it.
Yeah.
Jennifer, where would you
Yeah.
like to retire to?
Okay, I think either Hawaii or I would stay in SoCal, but like near the beach, like right off the beach, like one of those cottages.
Perfect.
And I would like to go to Greece.
Mhm.
I would love to retire on Crete, stay there by the ocean.
I'd love to be your best friend, Mary.
You're welcome. You're all welcome. Come on, as soon not if, but when I do.
Yes, I'm
You're all
there.
welcome.
So we need to all put that on our vision boards so that we can get
Yes.
you guys to where you want to be.
For the
Yes.
20th anniversary of the
Yes,
Bookish Hour.
of the Bookish Hour. Hopefully we'll all be dialing in from our dream homes.
Yes. Yes.
Perfect.
Yeah.
All right. And so to kind of wrap things up for this wonderful, wonderful evening that we have had, thank you guys again for being here. It has been an absolute delight to chat with you, to like listen to your
Mhm.
wisdom and learn from you and just be entertained by everything that you do. Thank you, thank you, thank you. For our viewers who have not already connected with you, either on social media or on your newsletter, where can they find you online, and where are you going to be popping up next if people can come see you in person possibly? Valerie, you want to
Sure.
know?
I'm on I'm on Facebook a lot. I'm on Instagram, and check out my website and sign up for my newsletter. That's where you're gonna probably stay most current. So vmburns.com.
So it's KorinaMossAuthor.com is my website. And if you scroll down and subscribe to my free monthly newsletter, you'll be kept up to date. There'll be giveaways and all kinds of fun stuff that are on there, and lots of fun cheese stuff too is on there. And I will be, you'll see some blogs from me this month on Drew's books, book musings, and then I will be on John Valeri's central booking podcast next month. So
I will say Korina's Instagram is like full of cheese pictures and it just like soothes my soul. So if you love looking at cheese,
yeah,
that's
come to my social media. I'm on Instagram and
Team Cheese all
Facebook
the
as
way.
well. Yes. Thank you, Sarah.
Jen, what about you?
I'm on Facebook and Instagram mainly. It's under at Jen J Chow. And then my website is jenniferjchow.com. And I also have a newsletter, so you can definitely subscribe there. And also events on my website as well. And I'll be in person at Left Coast Crime, Malice Domestic, and BoucherCon this year.
Oh, wow. Well,
Nice.
the trifecta.
So I'm on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. I don't have a newsletter, but I do have a website, mamonnin.com. I'll be at Malice Domestic and BoucherCon. And at the end of this month, I'm going to a little smaller festival, Books Along the Teche in New Iberia, Louisiana. They started that because of the popularity of James Lee Burke's Dave Robichaux novels. That's Dave Robichaux's hometown and my husband's. So.
Well, very cool. You know, we've got a couple more minutes, so just real quick, another quick lightning round. Can you give us a quick blurb of what book you have coming up next? How about Valerie? We start with you.
The second book in my Baker Street Mystery series, Murder is a Piece of Cake, comes out in June.
Nice. Korina?
I have Curds of Prey. It comes out on March 28th. You can pre-order now in ebook, paperback, audiobook also. And so it's the third book in the Cheese Shop Mystery series.
Okay. Jen?
I have the second book in the Night Market series. It's called Hot Pot Murder, and it comes out June 6th. And of course, it's about hot pot, a dinner that goes very awry when one of the guests ends up dead.
Oh, okay. Mary?
And I've got the second in the Intrepid Traveler series coming out, Death on the Grand Canal. And Stephanie ends up in Venice on the Black Market Trail of a sapphire and emerald Renaissance pendant called the Borgia Peacock.
Wow. Very cool, man. Okay, viewers, you got your assignments. 4 books coming out soon. Get them, read them, review them, love them, because these 4 ladies who have joined us here are absolutely lovely, and we can't thank you enough for celebrating Sarah and my 1-year anniversary of the Bookish Hour. So thank you all very much. Sarah?
Thank you. Yes. Again, this has been such a treat, and thank you for sharing your time with us. To our viewers who joined us live, thank you for being here. Thank you for sharing your love of all things bookish with us. If you haven't already popped into the chat to enter our book bundle giveaway, make sure you type in the word bookish to get entered in. And again, we will be announcing our winner at the end of our Thursday show, which will be kicking off at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And it's going to be another wonderful night. If anything like tonight, it was simply fabulous. Thank you again for being here with us. We will see you on Thursday. Stay bookish, everybody. Have a wonderful evening.
Thank folks.
Bye. Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.